This episode of Derapy is brought to you by Johnny Car Wash and Just Hacking Training. What up, derps? Like the video.
Derapy.
Fear is my favorite song on the album, and there is no other song that's really that close besides Duckworth to me. And this is just my opinion. Lock in.
What's up, family? Yeah, this your cousin Carl, man. Just giving you a call, man. I know you've been having a lot on your mind lately, and I know you feel like, people ain't been praying for you. But you have to understand this, man, that we are a cursed people. Deuteronomy 28 and 28 says, the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. See, family, that's why you feel like you got a chip on your shoulder.
Kendrick starts the song with a voicemail from a family member of his. And I don't know if this is a paid actor or if it's like a family member, but it feels so real and vulnerable that it's almost invasive.
It's Carl Duckworth.
Throughout Damn, Kendrick talks about stress and struggle and how he feels like people aren't praying for him. And here he has a relative leaving him a very thoughtful voicemail, showing sympathy and sharing a prevalent Bible verse with him. It helps that it's also backed by just such a lovely instrumental.
Why God, do I gotta suffer? Pain in my heart, carry burdens full of struggle. Why God, do I gotta bleed? Every stone thrown at you, resting at my feet. Why God, do I gotta suffer? Earth is no more, won't you burn this motherfucker?
As soon as his relative goes to give him direct advice on how to handle his struggle and the things he should be worried about, actually committed to, it's completely overshadowed by this heavy, dark voice asking God why he has to suffer, struggle, and bleed. The voice says that Earth is no more, just burn it. This voice could be the devil, Kendrick Lamar's anxiety, whatever is sowing seeds of doubt. And it's such an interesting way to show that these negative thoughts are so much louder and stronger and unfortunately more clear than what was supposed to be a nice family member that was just being considerate and checking in on him. This is such an interesting way to start a song. And I just don't hear other artists presenting their feelings and their conflicting ideas in this way. So this is the last section of the song, Backwards, which could be interpreted in multiple ways.
1.
So the album was released with the tracks in opposite order after the initial release because the album actually it works both ways. You could listen to it forward to back or backwards to front.
Forward to back.
It tells a story, and it basically asks if it's a story of wickedness or weakness that affects your behavior and the mindset of an individual. Is it nature or nurture? Are you a product of your surroundings, or do you have more agency on your own? It's also possible that it invokes the idea of rewinding, because this first verse is actually from the perspective of somebody who was meant to look after a younger Kendrick. I probably caught this on my second or third listen, but each one of these 3 rap verses talks about the things that Kendrick feared as a 7-year-old, a 17-year-old, and then a 27-year-old. Kendrick was around 30 years old when this album released, so it's possible that he wrote this song a little after he was the age of 27, which is just crazy to think about because, a week or two ago, I was 27 and, I was doing this, but Kendrick was writing.
This episode was recorded last year.
This Grammy Award-winning album, so,
I beat your ass, keep talking back. I beat your ass, who bought you that? You stole it. I beat your ass if you say that game is broken. I beat your ass if you jump on my couch. I beat your ass if you walk in this house with tears in your eyes, running from poo-poo and Prentice. Go back outside, I beat your ass, little nigga.
I love just casually talking about being threatened with physical violence by your parents.
Relatable, I fear.
It's really fascinating to hear someone else share an experience like this through a rap song, though. Definitely not the type of thing everyone can relate to. But it didn't take me long to peep this was from the perspective of Kendrick's parent at the time, and it only gets cooler.
That homework better be finished. I beat your ass. Your teachers better not be bitching about you in class. That piece of better not be wasted. You eat it all. The TV better not be loud if you got it on. Them Jordans better not get dirty when I just bought them. Better not hear about you humping on Keisha's daughter. Better not hear you got caught up. I beat your ass. You better not run to your father. I beat your ass. You know my patience running thin. I got boo-boo payments to make. County buildings on my ass trying to take my food stamps away. I beat your ass if you tell them social workers he live here. I beat your ass if I beat your ass twice and you still here. 7 years old, think you run this house by yourself? Nigga, you gon' fear me if you don't fear no one else.
It's so funny how, and at least in my experience as a black kid growing up, there can be no one scarier to you at times than your parents. Like, I got bullied in school. I used to be afraid to talk to some girls. I was worried at times about doing Oklahoma drills in high school against kids that were twice my size. But, like, no one scared me as much as, like, my parents at times. It's something that I never really thought about until listening to this song. And that's, like, what great music does. It like, opens up areas of your mind that, like, you wouldn't even think about otherwise. I think that's a great thing about really good media, whether it be music or television or movies. That's how you know that, like, you're experiencing some real artistry. This also kind of explores, like, a parent's perspective, because as a child you don't think about how much other stuff is going on in your parents' lives before you, like, start growing up and acting up. Like, as a 28-year-old now, I have so many things that are going on in my life. Like, I have bills, and I have a wife, and I have a job, and I have friends, and I have, like, a mildly popular podcast now, and I have 2 stupid cats, and, like, I need an oil change, and, like, there's, like, a bunch of stuff going on. And, like, imagining, like, having kids is just, like, terrifying. And sometimes it's easier to scare them into compliance, apparently, if it means that they'll just, like, give you a break. And Kendrick talks about that here, and also Keisha gets name dropped, which is cool. It's, like, kind of a nice little callback to previous albums. It's just a really great first verse.
Oh, the glazing is insane.
If I can smoke fear away, I roll that motherfucker up. And then I take 2 puffs. I'm high now. I'm high now. I'm high now. I'm high now.
Life's a bitch, pull them panties to the side now.
The idea of rolling fear up and smoking it away is great in theory, but if you're familiar with the devil's lettuce, which I'm not, especially if you're my employer, this is just what I've heard.
You're high right now.
Being high or even drunk only nullifies or dulls these feelings temporarily. As Kendrick discusses in Mother I Sober on Mr. Morale in The Big Steppers, and J. Cole talks about on the very underrated album KOD, these are not long-term solutions. Now, this next verse is Kendrick talking about his fears as a teenager, which, spoiler alert, are drastically different from my worries and concerns at the ripe age of 17.
I probably die anonymous, I probably die with promises, I probably die walking back home from the candy house. I probably die because these colors are standing out. I probably die because I ain't know DeMarcus was snitching. I probably die at these house parties fucking with bitches. I probably die from witnesses leaving me false accused. I probably die from thinking that me and your hood was cool. Or maybe die from pressing the line, acting too extra. Or maybe die because these smokers are more than desperate.
I don't know about you guys or where you're from or what your childhood was like, but one of the last things I was worried about when I was 17 was dying. I've also never listened to this song with the intention of breaking it down and talking about it, and can I just say that I'll probably die anonymous, I'll probably die with promises is, like, one of the saddest things I've ever heard. This isn't just because I'm a podcaster and all I want is for people to hear me. The last thing that I want to think about is dying anonymous. Like, people don't even know who I am, or when they find out I've died, they're like, who was that? What did they even do? And dying with promises basically refers to the promises you've made to yourself, your aspirations, your dreams, but also promises that you made to other people, things that you wanted to do for them, or things that you would do that would make them proud of you, and you never being able to fulfill those because you were killed as a child. This shit is dark. Also notice the tone that he's using. It's very low and very depressing, and sounds like somebody that's being very pessimistic about their life. It's very intentional. It's very artistic. I appreciate it.
I probably died from one of these bats and blue badges. Body slammed in black and white paint, my bones snapping. Or maybe die from panic, or die from being too lax. Or die from waiting on it, die cause I'm moving too fast. I probably died trying to buy weed at the apartments. I probably died trying to defuse 2 homies arguing. I probably died cause that's what you do when you're 17. My worries in a hurry, I wish I controlled things.
The essence of fear, I believe, is kind of being out of control, the not knowing what to expect or how to prepare for something. It's kind of a fitting way to end this verse, saying he could die from being too panicked or being too laxed. I think it works 2 ways. Like, in the very direct way, if you're too panicked and you freak out too much, like the police might take that as a threat and kill you. It could also happen if you are around a lot of gang violence. If you're acting sketchy, then people might assume that you're trying to get over on them and your life could end that way. But also at the same time, if you act too nonchalant and you don't remain vigilant, somebody could be taking advantage of you or putting you in harm's way. I also believe this is a reference to how drugs or laced drugs can make you feel. The popular song Swimming Pools by Kendrick is actually about Kendrick smoking weed for the first time and it being laced and him basically having a seizure. Weed can be like really strong, even when it's not laced, and pretty much no one dies from it, but you can feel like you're dying.
So I've heard.
Kendrick talking about dying by police or by trying to break up a fight is like very specific to the neighborhood that he grew up in, where there's constant tension and also a much higher police presence. This is very powerful, vulnerable stuff. So we're going to skip a little bit ahead because the hook is essentially the same. And then Kendrick is going to be talking about the things that he fears as his 27-year-old. Even though he is somebody that has achieved fame and a lot of money, we get to talk about, like, even though he's out of this place, he's away from his parents, he's away from these gangs, he's away from police potentially putting him down. He is still in fear for a lot of things.
When I was 27, I grew accustomed to more fear. Accumulated 10 times over throughout the years. My newfound life made all of me magnified. How many accolades do I need to block denial? The shock value of my success put bolts in me. All this money is God playing a joke on me. Is it for the moment and will he see me as Job? Take it from me and leave me worse than I was before.
I love how he says when I was 27 because it's close to the age that he is right now. And the reason why I like that is because he's establishing that he's talking to you from like a very mature and direct place, because what you're hearing is basically what he's afraid of
In 2017.
And he immediately starts talking about he's grown accustomed to the fear, but also it's magnified by 10 years older than he was before, but also magnified by 10 because obviously he has way more people looking at him. Kendrick would say in future songs and also in some diss tracks towards Drake that he doesn't particularly enjoy being famous. It wasn't something that he really sought. He has so much money that he feels like God is playing a joke on him potentially, which is funny because earlier in the album he's talking about doing cartwheels in his estate because he's kind of like operating from a place where like he's almost in disbelief about how successful he is, which is why he uses the phrase shock value. The shock value of my success has put bolts in me. He also references the story of Job, and basically the short story is that Job was somebody that was very successful, very rich, was very happy, and God took all of these things from him, his wealth, his family, and also pained him with these diseases just to test his faith. Job did not resent God for this, and he recognized it as a test, and he remained faithful, and he had these things restored to him. Kendrick feels like at any point in time, he's afraid that God could take these things away from him, like it was all a joke, none of it was real, and that kind of fits in with the theme of the album. And it's just a really strong way to begin this verse, because immediately off the bat you're thinking like, what is this man afraid of at the big age of 27 with all this like success and fame? And he immediately starts telling you like, dude, this is terrifying to have this much stuff and at times feel like you don't know if you're worthy of it and wondering whether it could be taken from you. It could put you in a worse position than you started as. Like, is it better to have loved and lost or to never loved at all? But like swap out the love with like fame and adoration and success and financial security. It's a really fascinating thought.
At 27, my biggest fear was losing it all. Scared to spend money, had me sleeping from hard to hard. Scared to go back to Section 8 with my mama stressing. 30 shows a month and I still won't buy me no Lexus. What is an advisor? Somebody that's holding my checks just to fuck me over and put my finances in debt. I read a case about Rihanna's accountant and wonder, how did the bad girl feel when she looked at them numbers?
One thing you never really hear rappers talk about, or at least I don't, with the exception of Kendrick Lamar and Tyler, artists talking about being afraid of going broke. I think it's a crazy thought experiment. Like doing 30 shows in a month and being as famous as Kendrick was between 2015 and 2017 and being afraid to buy a Lexus is insane. Like my grandparents have a Lexus. They are not famous rappers. At least I don't think so. Being afraid to have management and accountants is so real. I can't relate to that at this time.
You just started paying your editor.
Once you start making enough money, I imagine it becomes like very difficult to keep up with where all of your money is at all times, especially if you have like a ton of different revenue streams, CD sales, streaming, payout from Apple, Spotify, wherever else your music is, YouTube, music videos, shows, merch, appearances, like speeches. It becomes a job in itself to keep up with like all the different money that's coming in and where it's all supposed to go. And inevitably, you're going to have to hire somebody for that. And apparently, there's this case where Rihanna got screwed over because somebody was mismanaging her money. And I've never looked into this, but here's the beautiful thing about Derapy. Today, we're going to learn. Derapy. You guys ever heard of that song that came out once upon a time? I think it was called, what was it called? My editor would know.
So, yeah, back in 2009.
Rihanna lost $9 million because of some bad financial advice from her accountant. And coincidentally, as soon as she sued him, he ended up missing. Probably a coincidence. According to an article in the Daily Mail, the Barbadian singer, real name Robin Fenty, claimed she was effectively bankrupt at the end of 2009 after bad advice from accountant Peter Guinness, whatever. They probably killed him. That was a joke. I don't know why I said that. But she sued him for $35 million. It's now understood the firm have settled with the pop star out of court for around $10 million, according to the New York Post. But yeah, I've never had $9 million, but I can imagine maybe finding out that I was supposed to have $9 million, and because of one human being, I didn't.
The gun would go off.
So that's scary. That sounds like something to fear. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I literally just found out that Rihanna's real name was Robin Fenty. And like her line of products or whatever it is, I don't even know what Fenty is right now. Like, as I sit here recording this, I do not know what Fenty is. But that's her name. It's her last name. That's pretty cool. Anyways, Kendrick wasn't trying to go out like that, and it is like a rational fear to have. Probably not a coincidence. He had Rihanna on this album on the song Loyalty. So yeah, back to the track.
That type of shit'll make me flip out and just kill some, drill some, get ill and feel wretched with a little some. My practice running from fear. Guess I had some good luck. At 27 years old, my biggest fear was being judged. How they look at me, reflect on myself, my family, my city. What they say about me reveal if my reputation will miss me. What they see from me will trickle down generations in time. What they hear from me will make them highlight my simplest lines.
Highlight my simplest lines. I just wrote like an entire script for what I was going to say about this part, but highlighting the simplest lines is such an interesting thing that I just want to touch on, which is no notes. There are certain things that I've said in a couple of episodes in the past couple of weeks that I never thought that people would take so seriously and so to heart. Relatively speaking, compared to Kendrick Lamar, I am literally nobody when it comes to the amount of people that are consuming my content. But you'd be absolutely shocked how much people take from the simplest things you might say. Highlighting your simplest lines like really just hit me on a level that it never has before. I could say something like Section 80 is Kendrick's most least interesting album in my opinion, or I don't think Chris Brown is all that tough, or I feel like Family Matters is like actually pretty lame when it comes to a diss track. And these things that I think are very simple, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people will literally publicly denounce me and everything I stand for because of the way that I speak, because of the way that I edit the show, because of the way that I produce the podcast, because of the community posts that I make. There are people that are making what they believe to be informed opinions about who I am when they actually don't know anything about me. And I am not even anywhere near probably ever going to be the level of famous that Kendrick Lamar is. I can only imagine what that pressure is like. First, we'll go back to the beginning of this this section where he says finding out someone stole from him would make him potentially crash out. And this is finally actually a reasonable crash out. If I got hoed like Rihanna did, that would be enough to make anybody flip. Then he talks about the biggest fear being about how he would be judged, which would be surface level, but of course he continues and he talks about because of his reputation and size, what he does will affect everyone who comes after him, from his own offspring to artists trying to come from the same place that he did. It's like very deep. And it's quite scary, actually, even when no one was really listening to my little podcast. The few dozen or a couple hundred people that stumbled past it or stumbled upon it, are they going to judge me? Are they going to judge my city where I come from? Beautiful Sacramento. Is this city, is this town, is this place going to be judged because of what I said on on a funky little episode of Derapy? Are people going to judge my family because of what I say, how much I swear or don't swear, the opinions that I have on music that I do or don't listen to? Whenever I have children, are they going to be judged based off the things that I'm saying right now at the ripe young age of 28? Who knows? Kendrick Lamar is infinitely more famous than me, like more famous than I will ever possibly be. And I try to be careful with what I say, and I'd like to believe that my editor is helping. But at the end of the day, like, the internet is forever. What's out there is out there. And this song's crazy. Like, songs that provoke thought like this are masterpieces, in my opinion. Like, the true classics are the ones that stick with you and really take you to a place that you never thought a rap song would bring you. All I'm trying to say is, Kendrick can make Started from the Bottom. I don't think Drake could make Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. That's all I'm saying.
I'm talking fear. Fear losing creativity. I'm talking fear. Fear missing out on you and me. I'm talking fear. Fear losing loyalty for pride. Cause my DNA won't let me involve in the light of God. I'm talking fear. Fear that my humbleness is gone. I'm talking fear. Fear that love ain't living here no more. I'm talking fear. Fear that is wickedness or weakness. Fear. Whatever it is, both is distinctive. Fear. What happens on earth stays on earth, and I can't take these feelings with me, so hopefully they disperse. Within 14 tracks, carried out over wax, searching for resolutions until somebody get back. Fear. What happens on earth stays on earth, and I can't take these feelings with me, so hopefully they disperse. Within 14 tracks, carried out over wax, wondering if I'm living through fear or living through rap.
Damn.
Gotta be a top 5 Kendrick song. The fear of losing creativity definitely manifested in real life because he wouldn't release his own solo album for 5 years after Damn would come out. And I'm not counting the Black Panther soundtrack or the Untitled and Unmastered. The fear of missing out on You and Me, I believe, is referring to his relationship with his audience, his fans, but also his relationship with Whitney, which again manifested itself because he talks about the issues that they had to deal with over the course of those 5 years between Damn and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. He says that his DNA won't let him be involved in the light of God. And when he's talking about his DNA, I don't know if he's necessarily referring to generational trauma that Black people have had to deal with. And I'm not going to do a whole bit on generational trauma because that would take 20 minutes on its own. But he talks about it more in Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. But his DNA really could just be referring to the wickedness, because comparing wickedness and weakness, I feel like the wickedness is something that comes from within you, and the weakness is something that it's allowing outside conditions to affect you, who you are, and your behavior. And he's saying that his DNA, how he grew up, what is inside of him, is keeping him from God's light. I know it was warm over there. When he talks about his fear of his humbleness being gone, I mean, hell, man, I went from 200 subscribers to over 15,000 in a couple weeks.
15,000 subscribers?
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
And I'm already trying to keep my head from exploding. I can't imagine what it's like to be Kendrick Lamar, going from like being worried about being killed by the police or being gang affiliated or riding around with your homies in your mom's van trying to rob people and trying to be the man in the streets, going from that to doing cartwheels in your estate and selling out arenas. Like, it's got to be really scary to deal with. I love the inclusion also of the tracks in this track where he uses the word love. He talks about loyalty and pride, and he talks about humbleness. He obviously says fear a bunch of times. And I really feel like it's possible that this could have been the last track on the album, because he talks about there being 14 tracks. So I don't know. And the way that it kind of cuts off, where he's just like, damn. And there's like a whole outro that I'm not going to go through because I really just kind of wanted to keep it to the main themes of the song. But when he talks about losing loyalty for pride, if you see yourself as such a big person, as such a big figure, it's very easy to lose some sense of loyalty that you have to your friends or your family or your loved ones. And it's possible that he's already seen some of the consequences of that even before 2017. And I feel like a lot of this album was really talking about how many of the things that are happening on earth in this world are keeping him from being as committed to his religion as he should be. And at the same time, there's the duality of saying that nobody's praying for him, when it's really also the responsibility of the individual to maintain these relationships with the people around them, and also the faith that they're subscribed to. This is this is a lot. This is a lot. How do I feel? How would I rate it? It's a 10 out of 10.
10.
It's probably
10.
It's probably
10.
like one of Kendrick's best songs, in my opinion. I felt like this was worthy of an episode on its own. I know it's not as funny as your average Derapy episode, but
We're not done yet.
I think because I used to record these episodes in the library of the college I used to go to, that's why I sound so like soft-spoken and mild-mannered. But the next track on Damn is called God.
This what God feel like. Yeah. Laughing to the bank like yeah. Flex on swole like yeah. You feel some type of way then
So I just want to say this off top. I know what the song is about. I understand that Kendrick basically feels like he's God because of all of his riches and successes. That doesn't take away from the fact that I think that he sounds kind of ridiculous in this chorus. Like, come on, Kendrick.
Ever since a young man, all I wanna be was a gunman. Shooting up the charge, better run, man. Y'all gotta see that I one man. Slick as out the bars with the finger waves, work it, JT. Handlebars like a fade, watch me work it, JT. I'm at large, running plays like a circuit, JT. I'm selling verses, JT. Watch me work it, JT. Look. Hold up. Don't judge me. My mama caught me with a strap. Don't judge me. I was young, fucking other rats. Don't judge me. Aim it at your head for a stack. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Now my home got a valley key. Don't judge me. If I press your line, you a freak. Don't judge me. Won't you tell a friend? Y'all gon' see.
I actually really enjoy the instrumental and production on this track. Since a young man, all I want to be was a gunman, shooting up the charts, better run, man. Y'all got to see that I won, man. I like the rhyme scheme. I like the narrative. I like the picture he's painting. But then we get work it, JT, circuit, JT, selling verses, JT. Watch me work it, JT. And I don't want to lie to y'all. Like, it just sounds lame to me after a little while. Then we get, don't judge. I get it! I am uninterested in this. It sounds annoying. I know it's probably intentional. Well, I intentionally don't like it. Let's skip the chorus. And let's hit the second verse, see if it's any better.
Fuck is you talking to? Hey, do you know who you talking to? Slide on you like falling drapes. God touch full of carnivals. I kill him with kindness, or I kill him with diamonds, or I put up like 1,500. Get your ass killed by the finest. Everything life is a gamble. Nothing in life I can't handle. Seen it all, done it all, felt pain more. For the cause, I done put blood on sword. Everything I do is to embrace y'all. Everything I write is a damn 8-ball. Everything I touch is a damn gold mine. Everything I say is from an angel.
The flow there is significantly better. The first half of the second verse is still a little like mild to me, but I understand the concept. But then towards the end, everything I do is to embrace y'all. Everything I write is a damn 8-ball. Everything I touch is a damn gold mine. Everything I say is from an angel. That's really good. That kind of saved the verse for me. I think that this is like very solid writing. And then we get this bridge.
Everything I say is from an angel. I know blood shit, fuck shit, always your shit, my shit. Getting boss to ignite shit. Morning to the night shift, I'm on. I ain't sorry for it. Ask for a piece of mind, you charge me for it. I wanna see sometimes if you ignore it. I'm in the street sometimes and can't afford it. I got a bad habit. Levitate, ducking haters. Oh my heart is rich, my heart is famous.
So after this, we get another chorus to close out the track. The bridge wraps up the song's themes pretty nicely, but I feel like in order to really appreciate the true meaning of Christmas on this one, you're going to have to hit up our friends over at Dissect Podcast or something. The oh my my heart is rich, my heart is famous feels kind of tongue-in-cheek, like the riches and fame don't really matter. They don't make you godlike, and I just don't find the bridge super impressive. I don't find the hook enjoyable. I know that somebody in the comments will say that I'm hating and this is actually their favorite song and it's the best song in his entire discography. And to that I say, good for you. I'm glad you enjoyed the song. Please tell me why. I would actually love to know, because for me, it's a 5.
5.
Fear is a 10, and this song is about half as good as the last track. But speaking of good, I have good news for you. This album actually ends with one of the coolest stories and best performances of Kung Fu Kenny's career, in my opinion. It's he and his father's last name, Duckworth.
It was always me versus the world.
Please subscribe.
Until I found it's me versus me. Why? Just remember, what happens on earth stays on earth.
This is a great follow-up to the track God. Last track, Kendrick shared how he was starting to feel like, is this what God feels like? This track begins with, remember what happens on earth stays on earth. You're just a mortal man doing mortal things, my guy.
We're gonna put it in reverse.
Darling, I've told you many times, and now I'm telling you once again, just to remind you, sweetheart, that my...
Oh, Lamar. Hail Mary, your marijuana times is hard. Pray with the hooligan, shadows all in the dark. Fellowship with demons and relatives, I'm a star. Life is one funny motherfucker. A true comedian, you gotta love him. You gotta trust him. I might be bugging. Infomercials and no sleep. Introverted by my thoughts. Children listen, it gets deep.
You can tell early on in the track that Kenny is just gonna be in his bag on this one. Just setting up for the story he's about to tell. You already have super impressive rhyme schemes. Just setting the stage for the story we're about to get about Anthony, also known as Top Dog, and Ducky, Kendrick's Dada. What? Also, I love how the verse starts with Hail Mary. A verse on XXX also began with Hail Mary. Hail Mary is a Tupac. What? Tupac track. And also refers to the NFL play where a team desperately heaves the ball down the field with a very low success rate. Hail Mary and marijuana times is hard. Pray with the hooligan shadows all in the dark. Fellowship with demons and relatives, I'm a star. Could not start the track any better.
Listen, it gets deep. See, once upon a time inside the Nicholson Garden Projects, the object was to process and digest poverty's dialect. Adaptation inevitable. Gun violence, crack spot, federal policies, rape builders and drug professionals. Anthony was the oldest of 7, well respected, calm and collected. Laughing and joking made life easier. Hard times, mama on crack. A 4-year-old telling his nanny he needed her. His family history pimping and banking. He was meant to be dangerous. Clacked him a grip and start slanking. 15 scraping up his jeans with quarter pieces. Even got some hair from a smoker last weekend. Dodger policeman working for his big homie. Small time hustler graduated to a brick on him. $10,000 out of for project housing. That's on the daily. Seen his first meal, 20 years old, had a couple of babies.
The rhymes and storytelling are off the charts. Projects, the object was to process and digest poverty's dialect. Adaptation inevitable. Gun violence, crack spot, federal policies, raid buildings, and drug professionals. How many takes does this take? How does he do it? I love how Kendrick sets the scene, sets the circumstances for Top Dog, so you understand how he gets to where he does later on in our story on Duckworth.
Couple of babies, had a couple of shooters, caught a murder case. Fingerprints on the gun, they assuming, but witnesses couldn't prove it. That was back when he turned his back and they killed his cousin. He beat the case and went back to hustling. Bird shuffling, Anthony rang. The first in the projects with the two-tone Mustang. That 5.0 thing. They say 5-0 came, circling parking lots and parking spots and hopping out while harassing the corner blocks. Crooked cops told Anthony he should kick it. He brushed him off and walked back to the Kentucky Fried Chicken. See, at this chicken spot there was a light-skinned nigga that talked a lot with a curly top and a gap in his teeth. He worked the window, his name was Ducky.
After giving us a tease of Top Dog's criminal history, more or less, Kendrick talks about the trials that he endured and some of the spoils that he came into. I love how he says the 5.0 thing when talking about the Mustang that he has, and then includes how 5.0 came. You know how it is.
Do I?
Then Kendrick introduces his father, Ducky, to us.
He worked the window, his name was Ducky. He came from the streets, the Robert Taylor home, Southside Project, Chirac, the Terror Dome. Drove to California with a woman on him and $500. They had a son hoping that he'd see college. Hustling on the side with a 9-to-5 to freak it. Cadillac severely ride his son around on weekends. 3-piece special with his name on his shirt pocket. Cross the street from the projects, Anthony planned to rob it.
So Ducky is introduced as a light-skinned dude with a curly top who yaps a lot. He's working the window at KFC. He came up in a tough Chicago area and then dipped out with his girl to Cali with $500 on him and a baby boogeyman. So after giving us the perspective of both Top Dog and Kendrick's father, Ducky, Kendrick then explains how those two ended up meeting. We get the story of the chicken incident and how they would both reunite in the future.
Anthony planned to rob it. Stuck up the place before back in 84. That's when affiliation was really 8 years of war. So many relatives telling us, selling us, devilish work, scaling us, crime, intelligent, felonies, prevalent proposition with nines. Ducky was well aware. They robbed the manager and shot a customer last year. He figured he'd get on these niggas' good sides. Free chicken every time Anthony posted in line. 2 extra biscuits, Anthony liked them and then let them slide. They didn't kill him, in fact it looked like they're the last to survive. Pay attention, that one decision changed both of their lives. One curse at a time, reverse and manifest a good karma. And I tell you why. You take 2 strangers and put them in random predicaments. Give them a soul so they can make their own choices and live with it. 20 years later, them same strangers, you make them meet again. Inside recording studios where they reaping their benefits. Then you start reminding them about that chicken incident. Whoever thought the greatest rapper would be from coincidence? Because if Anthony killed Ducky, Top Dog could be serving life while I grow up without a father and die in a gunfight.
10.
So I was taking a walk the other day.
Yeah, so that's one of the coolest endings to any album I've ever heard. Hard to really even describe how I felt the first time hearing that. I think it works perfectly as a closer. It also works wonderfully as a track on its own. It's a tight and concise story about 2 people who both have not really come from great circumstances, but both chose peace in a way. Ducky gives Top Dog extra biscuits to kind of leading to his own self-preservation. Top Dog choosing not to harm Ducky at the same place he'd robbed and hurt somebody previously leads to Top Dog signing Young Dot, who would go on to enrich them all. Ducky could have been killed. Top Dog could have gone to jail. Neither happened. And now we have, damn, God is one funny mother lover. Whoever thought that the greatest rapper would be from coincidence? Unbelievably wild story with a not so wicked ending. Damn is truly a phenomenal album. While it does have some low spots for me personally, its peaks are higher than most other Kendrick projects. Songs like DNA, Feel, Pride, Lust, XXX, and Duckworth are some of my favorite Kendrick songs ever, especially Fear and Duckworth. On the other hand, tracks like Yah, Love, and God left me feeling a little let down. Even radio smashes like Humble and Loyalty are solid and fun, but don't necessarily make me feel as much as I'd like to. The peaks are high, but the valleys are pretty objectionable to me. I feel as though it doesn't really come close to albums like To Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City, but it stacks up really, really well against albums like GNX and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I am feeling a very strong 8 to a light 9, depending on how I feel on any given day. The bar is really high when it comes to Kendrick projects. Most rappers will never come close to making an album as good as Damn, but for Kendrick, while there are peak songs, it doesn't strike me as a peak project. I'm feeling a very strong 8. But what do you think? Am I hating? Am I glazing? Are you so over this being a Kendrick channel? Well, it doesn't matter because I am actually going to see Kendrick Lamar and SZA live soon. So we are not quite done with the Boogeyman yet, but I can assure you by mid to late May, we're gonna be over it. I promise. Thank you to the Big Derps, our members, our YouTube channel members, for allowing me to spend a week uploading completely demonetized content. Thank you to Johnny Car Wash and Just Hacking Trading for sponsoring today's show. Please check out the link in the pinned comment or description to get your cybersecurity skills up for free. Love you. Mean it. Spread the bread. Enjoy the outro.
Oh, wait, we have that other series to finish.
Look, nigga, money on my mind more than most of the time. And most of my grind go to promote my rhymes. The nigga don't glow, I shine. I feel like Coach Prime. I throw a bomb if they encroach your line. And don't socialize. The goals to get the most dimes before it's the end of your time. It's hard for a nigga to score when they keep on moving the goal line. Now he outside the liquor store with a lot of ticket, leaving a double shift at the Walmart on Russian Road. Still trying to keep composure.